All right, the State Capture Commission has started. Let's take you now live to Bloemfontein. The Commission will hear BOSASA-related testimony, and on the stand we're expecting a private contractor, Charl Le Roux, to give testimony.
10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, but for me, it's the lighting is fine. I can read and.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not certain about.
Yeah. I think there is a further message coming to you. Yeah.
Chairperson, I'm told that if you can read, I can read, and the witness can read, able to roll until tea time, then they can sort it out. So they say we can proceed if the participants can read.
Okay. Okay, no, that's fine. So it won't affect TV or this lightning.
It seems as if it won't. They say the camera will roll.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Let's start.
Chairperson, before we get to the witness, today was scheduled for 2 witnesses.
Yes.
It was scheduled for 2 witnesses. Mr. Cedric Frolic, and the witness will testify, Mr. Charl Le Roux. Unhappily, Mr. Frolic is physically indisposed and is unable to attend. With your leave, can then his testimony be postponed sine die, and then we'll arrange another date for his testimony?
Okay. Today and this week, I was going to hear evidence for at least, I think, 2 or 3 days relating to BOSASA. Mr. Cedric Frolic had applied for leave to adduce, to give evidence and to deal with the allegations made against him by Mr. Agrizi in relation to BOSASA, and the arrangements had been made that he would come today, but as Mr. Noshe indicates, he is apparently unwell and will have to adjourn the hearing of his evidence to a date to be determined by the chairperson in due course. So the hearing of Mr. Frolic's evidence is therefore adjourned. But the evidence that I will hear from another witness also relates to BOSASA. Do you want to take it from there, Mr. Noshe? Just to give the context. Yeah.
Chairperson, today the witness who is scheduled to testify is Mr. Charl Le Roux. The genesis of his evidence is the evidence of Mr. Agrizi. And in the statement given by Mr. Agrizi, paragraph 22 of Mr. Agrizi's statement, he refers to repairs.
Maybe you can, if you refer to a paragraph, you can indicate what that statement of Agrizi is, what date it was given, because he gave a few affidavits just for the record, so that whoever reads the transcripts knows how to identify the one that you are referring to.
Yes. The person is the statement of Mr. Agrizi. I just want to get to it's AA, it's exhibit AA004. That is the first statement that he gave.
What is the date?
Give the chairperson.
Or is that the exhibit number?
That's the exhibit number.
Yeah, AA.
It's AA. It's AA, and then it starts at AA01, but the statement is given the number AA, Exhibit AA.
AA, okay.
Yes. But then what will help, the AAs will help, because I can then take the chairperson to the relevant paragraph.
Oh, you don't have the last page of the affidavit?
Let me get to the last page of the
Because that
affidavit
will have
as
the
well.
date when he deposed to the affidavit.
Yes. The affidavit, Chairperson, is dated the 15th of January 2019.
Okay. Yes, then you can go to the paragraph.
Then
at
the
least.
paragraphs.
At least the reader of the transcript will be able to
follow, yes.
to identify which affidavit of
Yes.
Mr. Agriz we are talking about.
Yes. It's the relevant part of Mr. Agriz's statement is paragraph 22 and page AA036 of the exhibit. That is the genesis. There, Chairperson, one will see that it's given a specific heading of Nomvula Mokonyane. And in that paragraph, he then deals with amongst other things, the repairs that were done at the house of Mrs. Mokonyane. And thereafter, there's Mr. Charl Le Roux. Mr. Charl Le Roux's statement also refers to let me just take you to it. It's T3, the evidence, the statement of Charl Le Roux, wherein he also refers to the repairs that were done at the house of Ms. Mokonyane.
Okay.
And
where is Mr. Agriz's statement and everything? I'd asked that I should have it with me.
Chairperson, it's printed. There was a problem with the office printer. Unfortunately, we found a printer.
Yes.
It's being printed as we speak.
Oh, okay.
What we have done, we have printed 3 statements.
Yes.
There is the statement I've referred to.
Yeah.
Then there's a supplementary statement after he testified.
Yeah.
There were issues that you raised and that were raised during the hearing.
Yeah.
He made a supplementary statement.
Yeah.
And also there was a statement and in response to Ms. Mokanyane's statement.
Yeah.
Wherein he deals with those. Those will be presented shortly.
Yes, okay, including Ms. Mokonyana's affidavit.
Including Ms. Mokanyane's affidavit.
Yeah, okay.
And then, Chair, this morning, as a result, yesterday, by arrangement with the legal representatives of Ms. Mokonyane, we visited her home, and the only purpose for the
Or maybe before we get there, let me just give the context as I recall it from the evidence and affidavits of Mr. Agriz and the affidavit of Ms. Mokonyane. Mr. Agriz gave evidence last year implicating a number of people, including some politicians, and among other things, he testified that while he was at BOSASA, there were a number of people who were given monthly payments by BOSASA. And he said Ms. Nomvula Mokonyane was one of them. And also evidence was led by him as well as Mr. Charl Le Roux to the effect that there was a project within BOSASA, I can't remember what they called it, in terms of which BOSASA installed CCTV cameras and other security equipment at the homes of certain people. And he mentioned Ms. Mokonyane's home as one of that is Mr. Agriz and Mr. Charl Le Roux, I think, mentioned Ms. Mokonyane's home as one of the homes of certain people in which BOSASA installed certain security equipment. And Mr. Agrizi also gave evidence to the effect that he visited Ms. Mokonyane's residence. It may be that he said different residences. He went to both residences, that the official residence and the personal residence. And he said on one occasion, he went to Ms. Mokonyane's residence together with Mr. Gavin Watson, and they met with Ms. Mokonyane, and he said, I think it said it was on that occasion that Mr. Watson had brought money for Ms. Mokonyane, which was given to Ms. Mokonyane or was left on the chair in the house. I can't remember the details. And there was also evidence by Mr. Agrizi that I think there were deliveries that were sent to Ms. Mokonyane from BOSASA of groceries on a number of occasions. The commission asked Ms. Mokonyane to depose to an affidavit and deal with these allegations, and she cooperated and she submitted an affidavit in which she gives her side of the story. My recollection is that she denied that BOSASA was paying her or had paid her any money as alleged by Mr. Agrizi, and she also said that Mr. Agrizi had never been to her house, if I recall correctly. And the commission then continued to make investigations arising out of Ms. Mokonyane's denial, and the evidence that will be led today by Mr. Charl Le Roux relates to the further investigation conducted by the commission, and Mr. Noche will also talk about a visit to Ms. Mokonyane's residence yesterday, where her lawyers were present. And as I understand the position, there was much cooperation from Ms. Mokonyane and her lawyers in regard to the investigation and the visit to her home yesterday. Mr. Noche, I thought let me just put that myself, because you you are new in the commission,
Yes.
and I have been around, so I can remember some of these things because the affidavits are not here yet.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Yeah, it's just important so that everybody who listens to the evidence that is led today can remember the context.
Yes.
What is this evidence about?
No, thank you, Chair. As Chair has recalled, the project regarding Ms. Mukonyane was called Project Blowback.
Yes,
And
okay.
I think it's because of the house is in Blowback.
Yes.
And Chair,
There was I think there was a general name for the project of installing security equipment at the residences of different people, but it may be that they called it according to each person, like Project Blowback or Project Plaza or Project something else.
Chair, the way I understand Mr. Agrees' evidence, the whole
Yes.
issue of repairs and all that generally was called Project Shifton.
Okay,
But then there were sub-projects under it
okay,
of different residences.
okay.
And then
okay.
the one in Blowback, it was
Yes.
called Project Blowback.
Blowback, okay,
Yes.
no, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the assistance you gave me. Chair, before the witness starts testifying, we, yesterday, and by agreement between us for the commission and the legal representatives of Ms. Mukonyane, we met at Ms. Mukonyane's house, and the purpose was to confirm the features that were identified by and mentioned by Mr. Le Roux in his statement that he saw when he went to do some repairs at Ms. Mukonyane's house.
Or actually, rather than to confirm, to see whether they are there.
To see whether they are there.
Yeah, yes.
And then, Chair, at the end of the inspection, we then sat down and recorded what had been, what we had seen, and pointed out by Mr. Charl Le Roux. And with your leave and by agreement between the parties, I beg leave to read this into the record.
Yes, okay.
And Chair, I understand it is also in your bundle, Exhibit T13, and it's on page.
I'm sorry, just repeat that, I missed that.
And this statement, this memorandum of agreement, it should be in the Chair's bundle as well, in the Commission bundle, Exhibit 13, T13.
T13.
Yes.
Okay, okay, maybe what we'll do, I know that I think I have confused some of the members of the legal team. Shall we call this bundle something, that is the Leave Act file, and Mr. Charl Le Roux' statement, Exhibit 13, and its annexures? Is that fine if we do it that way?
What we have here is it's named Exhibit T13.
Yes. No. What I'm saying is, excuse me. Shall we say Exhibit T13 is Mr. Charl Le Roux' affidavit,
yes,
and annexures, but the box, we call it bundles. We give it a bundle number or bundle, a letter bundle, something. So that it's clear that the exhibit is not the box.
Oh, I see.
It's the affidavit. That's the exhibit.
Chair, can I just confer with my junior?
automotive.
Chairperson is.
Yes.
I'm advised that we will, after I've handed up the exhibit, I mean formally handed up to you, the exhibit 13 I'm referring to, we will then give it a bundle number, which will be bundle A.
Yes, no, that's fine. And if you know, there are different bundles that have been used. I know that certainly under the PRASA work stream, I think they have been probably through with my influence handing up these liver arch files as bundle B or bundle whatever, and then the affidavits inside would be exhibit this, exhibit that, and exhibit that. But if what is most important for now is the exhibit for the affidavit, the bundle number or bundle letter, bundle A or whatever, that's for convenience, and that can be attended to even later.
No,
that does not have to go into the record as such, but it's convenient if everybody knows that you will find exhibit 13 in bundle. So
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah.
Chairperson, we'll attend to that.
Yes, okay, all right.
Before we adjourn today, I will have attended to it so that
Yes.
it also goes to the record.
To the
as
record,
where
yes.
one will find the bundle.
Yes, yeah.
Chair, before I.
So maybe let me get this out of the way. Excuse me. You see, I see that there is an affidavit also of 1 billion, so
Yes.
that will have to have a separate or exhibit number. So the one that will be T13 is that of Mr. Charl Le Roux.
Yes.
So, but we can deal with that if and when we come to it.
Yes.
The one for 1 billion.
1 billion.
So the affidavit of Mr. Charl Le Roux, Charles Jacques Le Roux, is admitted and is to be marked exhibit T13, 13,
As the chairperson pleases.
together with its annexures.
As the chairperson pleases. Chair, with your leave and your guidance, the memorandum or the minute of yesterday's inspection does not form part of the affidavit of Mr. Le Roux. Should it have a separate exhibit number?
Yes, it should have a separate exhibit number, but maybe the best time to hand it up might be at the end of his evidence. I don't know what you think about that.
Chairperson, that is also fine.
Yes,
because he would have testified.
He will have testified, and then you will say, here is an agreement that was signed after the visit, at the end of the visit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I then move to, and then Chair, also, what I had, but we can deal with it after he has testified. Because he was employed by Mr. Van Billion. So I was planning, but we can do it the other way around. I was planning first to deal with sorry, Chair. I was planning to deal with the evidence and read into the record the affidavit of Mr. Van Billion. But Chair, it doesn't matter. Let the witness testify, and then
Yes.
we'll deal with the other issues thereafter.
Yes, it depends on what sequence you want. I don't mind if you refer to to the affidavit of Mr. Van Billion. It does seem to me that to the extent that agreement has been reached on things that were seen in Ms. Mokonyana's residence, it may be that her affidavit or his affidavit, Mr. Van Billion, will not be challenged. So I think we can get it admitted as an exhibit, and you can read the relevant portions thereof. if later on they challenge it, we will look at that. You, as I understand the position, Mr. Van Biljon left South Africa
Yes, sir.
last year, I think.
Yes,
he
sir.
now lives in New Zealand.
Yes, sir.
So calling him may not be necessary if a lot of what he says is not being challenged.
Yes, sir.
But also if it's covered by what Mr. Charl Le Roux says, it might not be necessary to call him,
Yes,
but the affidavit could be taken up. Obviously, Ms. Mokonyane and her lawyers will be free to challenge whatever they wish to challenge.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Chair, the affidavit of Mr. Van Biljon, you'll find it is in two places in the in T13. And it's on T13.
Remember, when you say T13, you talk about Mr. Charl Le Roux' affidavit.
Yes. Chair, that's his.
We better give it an exhibit of its own, exhibit number of its own, if we are going to refer
Can
to
I,
it
with
now.
your leave, can I make this proposal? And so that this is formally changed, can I leave for now the affidavit of Mr. Van Biljon until we've given it
That's
a
fine, yeah.
separate,
That's
number, so that when I
Yes,
read it,
yes.
because I understand, Chair, it will cause a confusion if
Yes,
I talk
yes.
about T13 later on is admitted
Yes,
as
yes.
another.
Yes, what can be done is that different exhibits, namely different affidavits, can be in the same liver arch file. What is important is to always identify the correct exhibit number for the correct